What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we're joined by one of my good friends in Skratch. How's it going, bro?
Yo, what's up? Going pretty good. Thanks for having me on the channel. Just starting to feel alive again because I've been knocked down by a cold, so just slowly recovering. How are you doing?
And then Raid just threw some Plarium points at you and then now you got to wait 25 years to get yourself a legendary champion.
Exactly, and I was like, damn, that's if another cold doesn't hit me and knocks me down completely,
Oh god. But yeah guys, we are actually going to be heading over to Skratch's channel straight after this collaboration as well to talk about some beastie epic champions. So make sure you guys head over there, drop a subscription and all of that good stuff because it should be a very fun collab to do. But in terms of this video, we're going to be breaking down the best rares that you should be maxing up in 2023. And we've actually got some really cool champions on this list, right?
Yeah, there are quite a few actually.
Yeah. So do you want to start us off here with who's going to be first on your list?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to start with Gnarlhorn from the Skinwalkers faction. I always used to pronounce him Gnarlhorn for some reason. I don't know. I just kind of like the G in front in there, And he's such a beast of a champion, not only for faction wars. He's one of the most powerful rare champions in the game and hands down the #1 crowd control rare champion in the game. With the A1 attacks one enemy, doesn't do much with that skill, but then he places provoke on all the enemies with the A2, increase defense on himself, and with the A3 places an unkillable buff on the champion on a 3-turn cooldown, which makes him viable for some clan boss teams. He can be used as a stun target because of this skill right here. So all around, great for secret rooms, great for faction wars and this sort of content if needed. And how I mentioned, you can definitely utilize him in clan boss as well.
Yeah, it's actually a champion that I've never maxed up, but I remember when everyone was having such a big problem with Skinwalker faction wars, like they was just maxing up Gnarlhorns and cheesing it with unkillable buffs. It's pretty funny. But all right, first one for me is actually going to be from the Shadowkin, and it's somebody that I don't think is spoken about too much in progression in this game, and it's going to be Odachi. Are you familiar with this champion?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I'm not using personally one though.
Yeah. So basically we've got a provoke A1, so pretty decent for faction wars, I guess. But we've got an AoE that can place a shield buff on this champion as well, equal to 20% of their max HP. But nice for damage output. But the main thing is the keeper, because it places a block debuffs and an increased defense on all allies for 2 turns, and then a block debuffs for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. Now it's not that
very
Go on.
Pretty nice, very similar with what Marques does actually. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I think for progression in this game, you're trying to get to Nightmare Clan boss and you're looking for somebody that covers both the roles. I actually think is a very strong one to put into the team. Like you can have the block debuffs for the decreased speed, and then you can lead in with like a Doom Priest to cleanse off the stun, or vice versa. So I feel like he really does hold that value as a great rare champion in this game. And also, dungeons by 25% is actually a hefty aura for a rare champion. So yeah, very cool for progression, I'd say.
Moving over to the next, I'm going to talk about Panthera from the Skinwalkers. She's a pretty solid champion, mainly for Fire Knight progression. So if any of you guys are struggling in there, definitely give her a go for progression. Attacks one enemy 3 times, has a chance to decrease the turn meter on critical hits. Then we have a double hit on the A2 with a heal reduction from here. Heal reduction is essential for the Fire Knight if you're allowing the boss to take a turn, because if not, he's constantly going to get a bit of a heal back. So it's going to become much more difficult to beat the boss. And with the A3, she places a perfect veil and a reflect damage buff on the champion for 2 turns. On a 3-turn cooldown, a lot of people don't know, again, the reflect damage can work against the Fire Knight in your favor. So if you have the buff on a team and the boss slams the shield, the reflect damage that is going to get passed back to the boss is actually going to knock down the counter of the shield as well, counting as a hit,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think like this is one of the best progression champions when you're trying to get to Sage 20 for the first time, because having a turn meter reduction if you don't have an allure on a 3-time hitter to crack the shield as well is actually very strong. And if you're struggling for accuracy stats, being able to place an extra 40 in dungeons by having an elite position is actually really cool as well. So I definitely feel like she holds a great value in this game when you're coming up, for sure.
Absolutely.
Next one for me is going to be heading straight down to my favorite faction in the game, in the Shadowkin, and we're going to be talking about Lifetaker. Now, this champion came to my attention during the faction games that we did with Dead with Jedi, because I thought I was going to go for Shadowkin first, and then I ended up with the Orcs. And this champion is actually very strong for the Fire Knight once again, because we've got a 2-time hitter for heal reduction. We've got a 3-time hitter, which has a chance to decrease turn meter by 10%, by the way, and a decreased speed in the same ability, alongside some Veil and Reflect damage, very similar to the Panthera. And I have no clue why people coming up against Fire Knight in progression doesn't max somebody like a Lifetaker. I think she's very cool, and the base stats are definitely solid in terms of HP, personally, so...
Yeah, she's actually the better version of Panthera because of the decreased speed as well, which is so important on the Fire Knight. I guess most of the people don't max out so many champions like this, man, because the lack of resources, you know,
yeah,
like
100%.
it takes so many things, get masteries, get books in them, get chickens to level them up, you know, but running them up to like level 50 and stuff like this, which still allows you to give them some decent stats.
Yeah.
In terms of progression, a lot of people can definitely do it and look more into it, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And it's actually very rare to get a 30% decreased speed as well, but the only downside would be the affinity. So if you're trying to face the stage 20 of the Fire Knight, you'll get that problem. But apart from that, just to get the job done, to get your Arbiters, not a bad champion to look for in terms of rare books. Yeah,
absolutely. The next one that we have on the list is going to be Metal Shaper from the Lizardman faction. And he was mainly kind of like discovered and used for the Scarab King, right, when the Doom Tower came out, because he has the ability of landing a shield on all allies on a 2-turn cooldown, and the shield is for 2 turns, you know.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a massive shield or anything like that, but it can definitely help you with the progression for the Scarab King if you don't have some sort of a cheese strategy to solo the boss or anything like that. So like this, you can create a team around this champion, you know.
Yeah.
And we have a bit of a cleanse on the ally with the lowest HP, a bit of a healing there, and an increased defense on that ally for 3 turns, which is fairly decent. You kind of like want to avoid having too many buffs on the Scarab, but the shield is kind of like what makes him to stand out compared to any other champion, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I remember when the Scarab King first came out and everyone was stressing out, and then we seen Metal Shaper and he's like, boom, get us in the team. Because, yeah, he's actually a pretty great champion. I guess since everyone gets like an Uros and stuff like that, you start to move away from these strategies with the turn meter reduction, the max HP, and all that stuff. But if you are actually building a team like that, for the cost of rare books, I don't think it's a bad choice. But guys, I just want to say as well, we're not saying to go and max up every single champion you see today. These are just champions in particular areas. If you're looking for a lesser value of rare books for a champion, these are ones that we would recommend in building those specific areas that we're speaking about.
Absolutely. Like it's 2023, guys.
Yep.
We have more champions in the game than me and YST can count together. Okay. So if you are struggling with any sort of content, definitely considering picking one of these champions out to help you in that particular area, you know.
Yeah. So, all right. Who do we have next on your list? Or was it me?
I think it's you, actually. Yeah.
I just did a collab with Chosen as well. I did the same thing. I'm like, I just lose my track of who I'm choosing. But all right. It's going to be Kurzad, and it's going to be from the Dwarfs. And I actually think this is one of the best rares in the game, because this A1, placing an extra hit if the attack is critical, and the extra hit places a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, making this probably the most viable decreased speed in the game, right? Obviously, there is some other ones of 100% and stuff like that, but to be void, and the only condition is to be a crit, this is amazing for the Iron Twins Fortress, keeping that consistent. And then also on the Deep Ambush, he places that 50% increased accuracy, allowing us to get to those crazy thresholds of those high 500 accuracies as well. So somebody like a Geomancer can come through and place the burn without relying on building it with these crazy stat numbers. And I think to have all of this in one kit for a rare champion is definitely somebody that you guys should definitely consider. For the Iron Twins in particular, I'd say, right?
Absolutely. And he was actually the very first champion in the game that had the increased accuracy buff for the entire team. And allowing you to do that is not only great on the Iron Twins, but if you're struggling with accuracy in any sort of content, we're constantly seeing them that they're upping the resistance, the stats on all the bosses is definitely a solid option. And yeah, this is probably one of the very few rares that everyone should definitely have a copy at 60, because you never know when it comes in handy, you know?
Yeah, I think even for secret rooms, if you want to use it in Iron Twins, I feel like that same build will carry you into those secret rooms and help you out there as well, alongside the faction wars for sustainability by having the 30% drop defense and helping you get through the waves, right? Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Go on. What's the next champion?
The next champion is Bellower.
Oh, this is... Do you know what? Every time I've done a video since, right, I keep mentioning Bellower because I remember in our last collab, you was a big fan of him. So talk to us. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I'm actually still a massive fan of it. In my opinion, he's one of the most complete rare champions in the game. He just brings so many things, right? Like, we have the block active skills on the A1, which is an AoE skill. The A2, again, is AoE skill with decreased speed. The A3, AoE skill with defense down and decreased attack. Like, geez, he brings so many things, right? You put him on a stun set, he's going to bring even more. A lot of crowd control, bringing all the right debuffs. Even though they are the smaller version, they're still very, very important. Great for faction war, secret room, dungeon progression if needed, So you can definitely get a massive value out of Bellower. I'm using him even in the very end game, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I would even say, like, when you first come into this game, let's just say you're pulling, like, 2-3 Void Shards and you pull a Bellower, he would actually be my next 60 on my account over, like, epics and stuff, because, one, he's going to break your campaign battles, right? You're going to fly through that, get to 12-3 and start farming. And also in dungeons, he brings the debuffs that you need. Granted, as you said, it is the lower versions of them, but they're still being placed, right? And slap him in that stun set, you're going to see a great value of a Bellower, 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Next up for me is going to be from the dwarfs again. We love the little dudes around here. And
you do.
It's going to be Bulwark. And I feel like he's slept a lot nowadays. But if you remember back in the day when we was first trying to get to Ultra Nightmare, this was the champion we was looking towards, because he's got that very unique punishing defenses passive when he's attacked, has that chance to extend the value of the debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. Very similar to like the Vizier A1, just for like a comparison. So keeping those weakens up, keeping those drop defenses up, and keeps that consistent for you. Also the burn on the A2, and then the A1 weaken to coincide with a drop defense coming from another champion, although it is the weaker version of the weaken. But in hindsight, also with the defense in all battles by 17%, if you're struggling for an aura like that, if you don't have somebody like a Sepulchre Sentinel or Tyrell, they're definitely a great option out there for you guys to progress in the Demon Lord clan boss in particular.
Absolutely. That's kind of like the main key, the main reason why people were using the champion, because he was a defense-based champion. He had that unique passive that only Septimus had in the game at that moment in time. We didn't have so many champions available for clan boss, and he was definitely a very solid one, and still a pretty good option if you're looking for a progression, how you mentioned.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to take us over to Bogwalker from the Lizardman again.
I love this champion.
He's a pretty interesting one. Again, a very similar sort of situation with him. Progression for clan boss, the decreased attack on the A1. There are not many champions in the game that have decreased attack on the A1. Like, we do have some legendaries and epics, of course, don't get me wrong, but rares, there are not that many, and this is a very, very solid option because it's a 50% chance to land decreased attack. It's massive for the Demon Lord guys if you're looking to progress there. Then we have the reflect damage, which is not important in clan boss because it's not really going to do a lot of damage, but can be pretty interesting for other sort of content like faction wars. Even in arena, you can mess up some people with that passive, because it places it on all the allies when this champion is hit with a critical hit. And the A2, we have increased defense on all allies, the lower version, So that can work pretty nice with the attack down. The only thing is this is on a 4-turn cooldown, so it's actually is on a 3-turn cooldown.
Yeah.
My bad.
It just takes a lot of books.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of books. I was just like, okay, they just put the cooldowns in the middle there. But yeah, pretty decent to help you with progression and the HP aura.
I agree, because it is very rare as a rare champion anyway to have the 50% decreased attack on an A1 skill. And for the cost of rare books, you can't really go wrong with a champion like this, right? Especially being defensive based, which allows you to be a bit more tanky. But yeah, very, very strong.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
All right, so next up for me is going to be heading into the Knights Revenants, and it's a chick I'm sure that you're familiar with, and it's going to be Renegade.
Never heard of her before in my life.
I know, she's the new one for 2023, guys. But basically, with Renegade, there's kind of two things, right? Because sometimes you don't need to 60 her, and sometimes you need to... Like, for me personally, you can get away with a 50 if you just want to do it once for, like, the Spider's Den and reset the cooldowns of, like, a burn ability. But in hindsight, if you're building, like, some endgame stage 25 teams, you will want to 6-star this champion, right? In those seer compositions. Yeah. So, a sacrificial ritual, decreasing the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns, like a budget Kaimar in a sense. And that's pretty much the main source of this champion, alongside the decreased speed if you build it with accuracy, to place that on the Fire Knight to keep that shield down for as long as possible. But do you use a Renegade in your current composition? Or
I do actually, and I have 2 of them if I'm not mistaken. So how you mentioned, one not maxed out at 60 because I used to run her on slower teams, like for the Spider, where she just needs to go last, reset, and we can forget about her after. But on the Fire Knight, for example, you want her to deal damage. You want her to have a War Master or something like that just to help you bring the boss down faster, Of course, you can run her without being maxed. You're not going to struggle on the waves necessarily, but you're just going to farm that a bit slower,
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely somebody that you guys, if you pull her, don't feed her, please. Yeah, she's gonna come
Absolutely
in
not.
handy. Yeah.
You can use her in clan boss as well, guys, on the work rusher. Just make sure you don't fully book her.
Oh
That's
really?
another thing.
I've not seen that strategy before, you know.
No, so I made the team like maybe it's been like 2 years ago. I can't even remember. Seeker, block damage champion,
Yeah.
and with Renegade.
Oh, that's cool, man. I'll look out for that video. I'll leave it in the description, guys. I'll go find it from 2 years ago.
Now I'm gonna move over to Muckstalker.
Okay.
He kind of like recently got on our list, right, with the Sand Devil's Necropolis.
Mm-hmm.
You can farm him from campaign, and he's the best sleep champion in the game. Okay, the A2 places a sleep debuff for 2 turns if the target has no active buffs. This skill is on a 2-turn cooldown, fully booked, and is just perfect for the Sand Devil's Necropolis. I wouldn't really suggest you to use him anywhere else. You can use him in Faction Wars if you want, just to help you a bit out. But he is the GOAT for the Sand Devil's Necropolis, 100%.
Do you think that when they was making the Sand Devils, they thought there was going to be such a strong champion in a game like Muckstalker? Like
they forgot. I'm pretty sure they forgot about him, man.
they definitely, because this is like an old school skill set, right? Like a sleep
Exactly.
on a 2-turn cooldown. They thought there's no chance this guy's coming back.
No, I don't even think there is another champion that has it on a 2-turn cooldown as reliable as him. I think is one more that can do it on a 2-turn cooldown, but it has like a 3-turn cooldown on it, and it's not even 100% chance to do it. But this guy doesn't care about all that, you know? He just goes and does it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. All right, so next up for me is going to be one champion from the Dark Elves, who I'm actually guilty, guys. I've not 6-starred it myself, and it's Painkeeper. Now, I don't know why I haven't 6-starred it. I guess because I was always using traditional teams over Unkillable, and I don't use like block damage comps in Iron Twins, and I personally didn't have the value on my account at the time. But she does have the decreasing of cooldowns, enabling some of the coolest clan boss teams out there, such as the budget Unkillable comps of Man-Eaters, right? Also, the attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP, with a 2-time hitter being great for Warmaster procs and filling the turn meter, which can be speed tuned, by the way. So, you're a big fan of Painkeeper? Yeah?
I'm using her on the Barrister comp, yeah? So whenever I need to do that lovely advanced quest, use a rare champion in the clan boss team, I'm using the Barrister comp.
So have you got 2 clan boss teams on your account?
I actually have multiple ones built. I can't even remember.
No way. I've only got... I always have one at a time.
I have quite a few because either I'm doing a new video on it. I like to keep 4 man-eaters up, you know. 1 for the Barrister.
Yeah.
So 2 of them for the Barrister, 2 of them for the slow double man-eater to have them ready whenever I need them and stuff like that.
That's such a good idea. I'm going to pick your brains there. I'm going to start building all these teams.
Because we're always changing teams all the time when we're trying to showcase champions and stuff. This doesn't work in that team. I got to rebuild that one. I got to break my clan boss team to do that one.
Every time I have to do that.
Not again, you know. So I stopped doing that a while ago, yeah. But I have 2 copies of Painkeeper, mainly for the secret rooms, you know. So we have only rare HP champions. I'm using 2 of them there because she's pretty solid. And she can be great in Faction Wars as well, you know. You're getting the heal, the decrease of cooldowns for the skills is definitely pretty nice for Faction Wars as well.
I'll make her my next 6-star. How about that?
Why not? Why not? The next one that we have on the list is Soulbound from the Barbarians.
Pikachu. Where is she?
She's somewhere there. There we go.
There's
Pikachu.
Pikachu. There she is.
Such an amazing rare champion. I have 2 copies of this as well, mainly for secret rooms. I'm using her in Faction Wars as well, funny enough, because you need to use a rare champion in Faction Wars every now and then for an advanced quest as well, you know. And the A1 is an AoE skill. You can build her with 75% crit rate because every single one of the skills gives you an extra 25% crit. And the depletion of turn meter with the A3, the A2 deals pretty good damage, ignoring defense and stuff like that. But the main things that you should focus on are literally the A1 and the A3, you know. That's the MVP on the champion. And you have the crit rate aura too, which if you decide to use it, you can actually build her with even less crit rate. But a stun set on this chicken, she's gonna do wonders, you know.
Do you know what? I've not 6-starred her either.
You're slacking. You're slacking.
Do you know what it is? Whenever I've got like the resources, I'm just building up epics and legendaries, and I forget about secret rooms. But I'm actually going to start building up these champions. So I'm just going to...
I actually don't blame you, man, because I was actually asking you before the video, are you completing every single secret room? And there is no reason to do it. Like, you're going to get those champions, you know, before we were all stressing, like, we got to do the secret rooms because I bet in 6 months from now, they're going to add some OP champions and we don't want to be behind.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen anymore. They finish with the champions. They're not going to add any more champions in there. We're just going to get materials from each one of the bosses for the secret room. So more people will stop doing the secret rooms in the future, I think.
Unless they start adding the Polarium points into secret rooms.
Exactly. I do value the materials more than the champions because barely any champions from the Doom Towers, especially legendaries, are good, you know.
Yeah, no, I love the Doom Tower. I think it's one of the best places in the game, honestly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rewards-wise, is just wow, you know.
Yeah. All right, so next up for me is going to be from the Undead Hordes, and it's going to be Frozen Banshee. Now, this champion was attainable back in the day from the Battle Pass for anyone that's not aware, and since then we've just had Forge Passes, so maybe one day we can get one out.
We remember. We will never forget.
Do you remember when that came out? We were like, yo, a Void Legendary for like £20. I was like, yo,
I know,
give me that, man.
Was the exact same price as the Forge Pass, or around there, a couple of dollars more or less. But you were getting everything in it, man. Like, the value was insane. And of course, they've done it once, and they were like, everybody bought it. We don't want to do this
again. Who was in it? There was Stag Knight, there was Frozen Banshee, Grave Chill Killer.
Stag Knight, Frozen Banshee, Grave Chill Killer, the two bears from the Skinwalkers. We have Wurlim, the Frost King, as level 100. But we had 6-star legendary gear. We had skill tomes, gems. We had everything in there. It was just mental, you know. Like,
do you know, I'm gonna actually go back and look at exactly what was in there in the future. We'll see. But all right, A1 ability. We've got the poison. If they're under a poison sensitivity, that can be placed in the A3 skill with the Frostblight, and very, very strong, I would say, in counterattack compositions, right? Because you want to be able to pop them out as many times as possible. And if you do get resisted, there is a downside in specific teams where you have to cycle through again and not place any poisons, which isn't a big deal, by the way, I guess. But for me personally, I feel like counterattack / unkillable teams is the best way to bring in a Frozen Banshee. And you could just lock off the A2 if you like, and just because she feels the turn meters and can throw you out of tune, right?
Yeah, she's not even gonna use that on Clan Boss, actually. She's a smart chick, this one.
Oh, she one of the smart ones.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I just locked them off just in case. Like, they might want to just fly it through. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. They might catch you off guard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you back to the Barbarians.
Yep.
And we're gonna talk about Marques. So at the beginning we were talking about another similar champion, but with the A1, she doesn't really do that much. She has a chance to land a small version of a defense down. The A2, she lands an AoE decrease accuracy, the smaller version. The A3 though, on a 3-turn cooldown, block debuffs for 1 turn, and the big version of increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. I used to run her on one of my very first unkillable clan boss teams that I've done, like back in the day when they nerfed the very first unkillable with man-eaters.
Yeah.
I used to have her to protect me from the stun, because I only had one man-eater and the Sir Nicholas, you know, and I had to do something to work on full aura or something like that. I can't even remember what I've done, but she used to be in my team for the block debuffs, actually.
Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty cool. It's like a better version of the Odachi, right, from the Shadowkin, because she's got the big version of the increased defense. So that's actually very strong, man. I've not used the Mark tier clan boss yet, but I do know the value of how great that is. But I feel like people do forget that she's farmable, right, from the campaign.
I don't think she's actually. No,
she's not.
She's not.
I don't know. You guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but yeah. But as a red champion, definitely one that you guys should be looking out for if you're progressing in the Demon Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. She's actually pretty interesting. Yeah. She brings some value.
All right, we're gonna start going into the Beastie Boys. All right, we're gonna start ramping up the damage, and we're talking about world record teams here.
Oh,
we're whipping out the Corpulents. Now, when this champion first was in the game, did you ever think like this champion was gonna be smacking like 50 million and stuff?
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
So basically what it comes down to is on the A1 ability, attacks one enemy and inflicts additional damage if this champion is under a shield buff and the damage is equal to 30% of the value of the shield. Now guys, if you're building the world record clan boss team, it's the only time I would personally max up a Corpulent Cadaver, because the way it works is you're extending the shields, then you're extending your buffs, making an endless buff composition, and then he's just absolutely smacking, right, over time. So in that particular way, yes, but apart from that, I wouldn't be 6-starring her or anything like that.
Yeah, same. Like, I have one at 60. I still haven't managed to build that team yet, because I don't know, I kind of got distracted with other projects, but I'm planning to build it. Not to go for the world record, because I don't have the patience. And right now it's unbreakable because it reached the cap of the damage that a 30-bit can actually hold in the game. But Yeah, it's definitely pretty nut to see that you're getting this sort of damage from a rare champion, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's so odd that he's got some jingle bells from his Christmas tree on his pocket. Look at that.
Yeah, like he
Look at
he, he
that one.
kidnapped Jingle Hunter, I think. Don't tell my wife, huh?
All right, who we got next?
I'm gonna take you again back to the barbarian. Seems
He
like
loves the ones with no clothes, man. What's going on?
I'm such a fanboy. Warmaiden, baby.
Okay.
Warmaiden.
So this one definitely is farmable, as far as I'm aware.
This is definitely farmable, and definitely everyone should have a copy of this champion because I'm using her in like so many different secret rooms, 5 to 6 secret rooms at least. Then I'm using her in Faction Wars. She's my defense down champion for Faction Wars. So basically, with the A1, let's start from there. She's not going to do much. She has a very small chance to place a small version of the poisons, right? The A2, again, is not going to be anything impactful. It's going to place increased attack on the champion and an extra hit if the attack is critical. The extra hit can be critical, so don't expect crazy damage. But the main thing on this champion is this skill right here. 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown to land defense down on all the enemies. That's what makes Warmaiden what she is. And of course, the part that she doesn't seem to like to wear many clothes, you know.
we have to cover her up, guys, with the skills so we don't get demonetized.
Yeah, exactly.
No, seriously though, this champion is really cool, and be able to farming means that you can actually go through the campaign, guys, farm up this champion multiple times and book her for free. And I feel like if you could do that in this game, definitely holds a lot of value. And she actually smacks relatively hard, from what I remember. Like she deals some pretty good damage, yeah. So a nice little bruiser champ alongside the debuffs that you bring at 100% chance. So yeah, I agree. Very strong champ. All right, so next up, we're going to be going into campaign farmers. We're trying to tackle down your Bellower. We're trying to get him out of the equation.
Let's see.
And it's going to be in a faction that I can't remember.
Demon Spawn, Fellhound.
Yeah, there we go. He had it in his head before I did. So Fellhound. So this champion basically can just go through and nuke down the waves in 12 free campaign, and you can have no problem whatsoever with this dude. There's an AoE ability here. He has a bit of continuous heals and reflect damage for faction wars and a block damage as well for some other stuff. But the main thing is the Ravage ability, whacking out the A1 ability, get yourself some silver, get your champions ranked up over champion training event, and this one rare champion will enable you to do that. Is he your campaign farmer at the moment, or no?
No, I'm usually farming a Nightmare campaign.
I'm the same nowadays, yeah.
He is definitely the fastest campaign farmer in the game because the animation is so damn fast on that A1. And if you have the right stats on him, he doesn't need to have crazy stats, okay? You can balance a bit of attack and defense because his damage is based on both.
Yeah.
And you don't need him fast either, right? Like, you can forget about speed. You just got to make sure you have over like 106 speed or something like that. I can't remember how much.
It's really slow, yeah.
Timer. But if you have over 110, he's always going to go first. And he's just going to one-shot, bang, 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 bang. Like 5 to 6 seconds, depending on what food you're bringing with him, because the animations of the food might hold him back a bit. But super, super fast to farm. And the reflect damage, great for the Fire Knight strategy as a team that will allow the boss to take turns, you know, because of the
That's like that old school strategy from back in the day when it reflect damage.
Exactly, yeah.
Take down the Fire Knight.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, here we go next.
Next, we have Castigator. So he's a pretty solid support champion. Definitely brings a bit of a heal because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only rare champion in the game that equalizes the HP of all allies, right? And he grants an extra turn, knocking this almost down to a 3-turn cooldown, basically, right? Pretty interesting. The passive has a bit of damage reduction from enemies under provoke, and with the A1, he has a small chance to land a cheeky provoke on an enemy, you know. So he's a pretty decent support champion, mainly for faction wars, good for secret rooms if needed, HP based champion, good for that specific secret room, you know.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best because the way the equalizer works is, guys, it kind of takes the HP levels of the highest champion and brings everybody up to that level, making this one of the best heal abilities in the game. You might be familiar with Senesha, who can do it, and I think there's like a handful. There's not a lot of equalizer abilities in the game, right? So
yeah, definitely.
To have it on a rare champion, especially for secret rooms where you do get smacked like a truck, is definitely somebody you guys should consider for that, at least with the faction wars.
Funny enough, the rare secret room guys are the hardest in the game.
Even I struggle on that personally. Yeah,
it's just crazy. Like, they are, some of them, very, 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 very difficult. Actually, it's crazy.
All right. So next up for me is going to be from the.
Let's see.
I don't know. I don't know where he's from. Is he a lizard? Let's see. No. Where's Abyssal? Can you recall it?
Abyssal, yeah, is from the Shadowkin, no?
Is it? No. I think is it Skinwalker?
No? Skinwalkers. No. No.
Oh, guys.
No, it's Demon Spawns, bro. Demon Spawns.
It's a Demon Spawn.
Spawns. Yeah.
I don't know why. He just looked hairy, so I thought Skinwalker. There he is.
Yeah, for some reason I thought about the horns of Shadowkin, but no, it's Demon Spawn.
Yeah. Other than the fact he looks like a low-key variant out of Marvel, this dude is actually very, very strong. He heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. He does an increased defense and increased attack on the lower variations, which is fine. But the main thing is, A1 ability that has the chance of placing block buffs. And if you guys are in normal or hard Hydra and you're really struggling to get that 1 key, I feel like a champion like Abyssal just abusing the A1 is actually very, very strong. Although it's only on a 30% chance, being able to just do this on the A1 keeps this consistent enough for me anyway. And I think it's very strong for a support champion. He does have a speed aura and faction crypt, so you can get utility there. But he isn't like useless for even like his other skills, right? He's still placing increased defense and attack for Hydra, healing, and he's doing the block buff. So I think he's a no-brainer choice. Slap him in maybe a taunting set for Head of Decay. You could be looking at a whopper of a champion here, right?
Yeah, he's actually great for faction wars as well. Great for secret rooms too. He's a pretty solid red champion actually. One of the best red champions in the game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you to no one else but Heiress. Farmable champion, used in quite a few unkillable clan boss teams now. And again, this is one of those champions that if you are looking at her kit like 2 years ago, you were like, nah, I'm never going to use this champion. This champion is never going to have any value. But funny enough, it's one of the very few champions that can do what she does. So the A1, again, is not going to do anything crazy. You're not going to use the champion for the A1. But the A2 is kind of like what makes the champion. Removes a random debuff from all allies and places an increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Fully booked is going to be 100% chance. And the passive will counter attack whenever she gets attacked, or when an ally is attacked, my bad. Great on a toxic set for the mid-air comp and mid-fu comp. There are quite a few teams out there with this champion, actually.
Yeah, no, she's a very strong champion. I actually use it at the moment with the Demiffer team. So
do you?
Yeah, but it's just so old school. Like, why did they put the buff chances to place increased speeds?
Yeah, but you see they're actually doing it now again, huh?
Yeah, with who?
Well,
with
I can't remember, but we got quite a few champions that do it like this. I think even Elva has something similar in the kit. I might be wrong, but there are definitely some champions doing it. Yeah,
it's so weird. Like, it just like to place a buff, like a chance. Like usually for debuffs, it makes sense, right? Pay the money.
Get the books. Get the books.
All right. So next up for me is going to be. Let me just check on my cheeky little list here on the side. It's going to be a Coldheart, and I'm pretty sure that you don't know who this champion is. She's
never heard of her ever before.
Arguably up there with probably the most desired champion in the game in terms of res. Like when people are coming up in this game, they want a Coldheart, right?
I mean, she's no doubt the #1 red champion in the game.
Yeah, 4-time hitter. Great for Giant Slayer procs if you want to build it that way, but the way that I do is Helm Smasher personally. With a heal reduction for Fire Knight. AoE abilities for poison and decreased accuracy. But the money scalability is the Heart Seeker that I bring into Dark Fae, Fire Knights, Spiders, you name it. You're looking for Terminator.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere you want this chick in your team. So, yeah, she definitely holds that value.
Absolutely. When I started playing the game, there weren't that many poisoners, there weren't that many champions. But if you are having a Coldheart, she was one of the best damage dealers for clan boss at that time as well. It was her, Xavier, and I feel like that's about it,
Juliana. Juliana back in the day.
Yeah, but she was weak sauce compared to Coldheart. Like Coldheart was the GOAT, To have a Coldheart was like, wow.
The scary part is, remember back with the clan boss where you couldn't even see the damage? It was just... And then if you kill the clan boss, nobody else can get their chest, and you have to like.
I know that was just painful. That's what actually caused the clan hopping and stuff,
Yeah. All right, who we got? Oh, it's you. No, was it me?
It's me. So I'm gonna go to the high elves again. Seems like I love these factions. No one else but Apothecary. Even though most probably not so many people are using him in the present like before, he's still a very solid champion.
Yeah.
The A1 is a Giant Slayer because it's a triple hit. The A2 gives a heal to an ally, and this can be critical. Now, one thing that I still haven't checked, even though I promised you guys a long time ago, is that I'm going to check if the crit damage is actually going to increase the heal. I'm definitely going to check that at some point.
Is it a crit damage that does it, or the crit rate? I was always I always thought it was the crit rate that affected it.
Yeah, that's what I know as well. But there are some rumors saying that the higher the crit damage, the higher the heal. So that's something that I actually need to check.
Okay.
And increased speed, increased turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown is just such a beast. Defense aura for all battles or dungeons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, dungeons, yeah.
Just dungeons, right? So it's very strong actually for a rare champion. We used to call him legendary in disguise, yeah.
Yeah, just think how the game's changed. Like back then, we would be flipping our chairs like it was a sci-fi, like when Apothecary came out.
I know, yeah, exactly. It was crazy, yeah.
We actually need to. I really want Raid to start bringing in some more rare champions that's like to this caliber, right? This, like,
yeah, it seems like they're just not doing it.
Just filler champions for fusions.
They haven't done it in long time. Like I can't even remember which one is the last strong red champion of this caliber. Yeah. They are the decent ones, but something like wow, because they're not that many in the game.
Yeah.
If you're kind of like crossing the line, you're only going to end up with 5 amazing rares in the entire game,
Yeah. So for me, my next champion is going to be Doomscreech, and this champion I think is great for clan boss, great for arena compositions. And the main reason is he fills the turn meters of all allies by 30%, which is very strong for a rare, on par with some of those legendary champions. But also places an increased defense buff, allowing to manipulate the damage of your defensive-based nukers, guys. Because for anybody that's not aware, Arbiter is an amazing champion, right? We've got speed auras, we've got increased attack. But increased attack is not going to affect your defensive-based champions, right? So if you've got somebody like a Kaimar with a speed aura, followed by a Doomscreech, and then you lead in with your defensive-based nuker, you actually start to see a great value from a Doomscreech. Also, attacks all enemies, and A1 for decreased accuracy. Go on, what was he saying?
Yeah, it's strong. You can use him as a second turn meter booster too, in case if you're lacking something, to make sure the opponent won't actually cut you out, and go in front of your nuker. But Doomscreech is actually a solid red champion, man, 100%.
Yeah, I remember once I went into the arena, right, and then I was like, oh, what's this rare champion? I didn't know what he did. I went in there and I got absolutely knocked out like Mike Tyson. I was like on the floor and all sorts. But
do you remember the days when you used to go in arena and you used to get hammered by Chaos and Galax and Elhames, because those were the main nukers?
No, the worst one was Rain Beast. Do you remember Rain Beast?
I know, that was just so painful.
He used to just
army of Rain Beast.
It's
solo the entire team. He was just healing so much. It was actually crazy. The Rain Beast, Rain Beast army. I remember that too.
They actually nerfed him. Do you remember? They actually nerfed him.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Terrible.
It was just OP, man. Like he was healing so much,
Justice for Rain Beast. I'm gonna start saying it 5,000 times. Jing 1. All right.
If you guys think that it's a hard time killing Ultimate Dead Knight now, you have no idea how hard it used to be to kill Rain Beast like 3 years ago. It's just crazy.
There must be a clip. I wish I could find a clip of that, of how it used to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be able to find actually on somebody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the high ups actually.
Oh yes, look at him. He loves it. He's high all the time, guys.
I know. I'm high all the time on a Neurofence actually. Reliquary Tender.
Yes.
I think, my opinion, the best rare champion in terms of a reviver in the game, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't only bring the revive, but she brings the cleanse and continuous heal on all your team, which is very important on a 3-turn cooldown. A lower version of a attack down on the A1, I wouldn't really count on that, but the rest that she brings is actually pretty solid. Very good for progression in dungeons and stuff like that. 100%.
I actually would say she's on a caliber of epic champions. I don't even think she deserves a rare. She's because to have a 3-turn cooldown full out cleanse is very, very strong in this game, especially that is adding a continuous heal. And you can literally just throw into your arena comps, and if you just want to cleanse off like a Torment Freeze, just throw her in there, right? She'll do the job. Talk about Never Spider taking off all the poisons, guys. Throw her in there. This Tender's Watch is going to be huge on a 3-turn cooldown.
Even Clan Boss.
And even
the stun.
Yeah, and the revives, very, very strong, right? With the filling of 10 years, so I have to agree with that one. All right, so we're getting down to the final couple, and my next one is going to be a farmable rare champion from the Demon Spawn. And I feel like she's very underrated in this game, right? And one thing that you guys should be paying close attention to is the base speed of 110 for a rare champion, guys. Now, that is kind of uncalled for. I can't recall any other rares. There might be maybe one, or is there? That's that fast.
I think... I'm not sure, actually. It might be one with 111. I'm not sure if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
It's an epic. But it's definitely one of the highest.
I think Steel Score has 111 or 112.
Yeah, but that's an
epic.
That's like an epic. I can't remember something recently. I I was talking with somebody about it, but honestly, I can't remember. If she's not the first, she's definitely the second, though.
Yeah, so 110 base speed for a farmable rare champion. Once again, you can farm it from 12 free. That you guys will be farming every day from campaign. And she's kind of like a budget, like Lysandra and Deacon Armstrong. It's like you get Lysandra, then it goes to Deacon, then it goes to Diabolist. Because you got an increased speed, allowing you to speed shoot clan boss teams, by the way, guys. Talk about the Lydia / Underpriest Brogni team. If you don't have a Lydia, this enables you to create that composition. Granted, you won't have the drop defense, the weaken, and stuff like that. But just to prepare for a team like that and start speed tuning, I've definitely made it work in the past. Also, the filling and decreasing of turn meter by 15% at those base speeds, allowing you to cut down the enemy team, fill up your turn meters, and get yourself in a rhythm of being great in arena, right?
She's great as a second turn meter booster as well, yeah.
Yeah, so very, very strong. Like, if you don't have a Deacon and you're looking for someone to fulfill that role, there is somebody out there that's farmable to get that done for you guys.
Absolutely. The next champion is going to be Prosecutor. This is actually a newish added champion. I think was like part of a fusion not a long time ago.
Yeah, I think we needed like 16 Prosecutors to farm somebody. I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember what fusion it was either, but basically the main skill that really matters on is not the A1 that attacks one enemy 2 times, is the A2. And that's an AoE decrease speed on all enemies. It's a 75% chance. It's actually the best decrease speed the rare champion in the game. Yeah. Very, very solid, yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah, she's actually my favorite rare champion in the game at the moment. I think she's phenomenal. And because when I was using her, when we had the test server access before, I built her up, right? And I was actually astounded. Like, even its A1 ability, it might sound underwhelming, but I put her into Dark Fate 120, and she was performing crazy in Relentless gear because she's got an A1 10 meter effect, like in her lore. So if you guys are looking for like a second champion to fulfill those roles, she could just come in there, place the decreased speed. She's great for damage as well, being an attack-based champion. And then we've got the 10 meter reduction, and then also an increased accuracy as well on this champion, meaning that you don't need as much accuracy to place the 10 meter and stuff.
Yeah, so, and pretty good for the Fire Knight as well. Great for progression.
Yeah, progression. I wouldn't say like
I
wouldn't say she's like end game super crazy, but I think the animations. Have you ever played with her and seen the animations?
No, not really. Actually,
she's
I can't remember on the test server, but
she's like Captain America, and she throws her daggers and they come back to you. It's sick. I love it.
That's
yeah. All right, here we go next. Oh no, it's me. I thought that was my pick because I love the champion so much.
That was my pick. I'm not giving it to you.
Next up is gonna be from where's Marques? She's Demon Spawn. I'm not gonna get this one wrong.
Demon Spawns. Yeah.
Now this champion kind of came to fruition very recently. I'd say in the past maybe 6 to 8 months. I've seen.
Yeah, something like that. 6 to 1 year, something like that.
So she kind of deals like an extra damage effect to champions under weaken, making her one of the best champions to pair with Rian the Conjurer from the Doom Tower, because she just places it very similar to a Madame Ceres. And you come through, you absolutely shred with this. And the damage capabilities is insane, right? As far as I'm aware.
It is just nuts, man. Like, she doesn't have a very high base defense, right? So that's
the downside.
Justified, because if no, she will just destroy like any other defense nuker in the game. She just deals so much damage with that skill. It's crazy.
Yeah, so definitely a candidate that you guys should be looking out for an arena nuker, especially when you're coming up, right?
And Faction Wars as well is actually nice, too.
Are we down to your final champion?
To my final champion, and that's going to be Valerie.
Yeah, let's go.
You can farm this champion as well.
Oh, wait, Valerie, where is she?
Bannerlords.
Bannerlords, there we go.
So you can farm the champion from campaign, guys. Pretty decent, but mainly if you are looking to have a champion that increases the duration of all buffs on a 3-turn cooldown, this is the right champion. And she's going to give you the smaller version of increased attack at the same time. So pretty solid, especially if you need something like this for your clan boss team. 100%.
Yeah.
Keep her in mind. Yeah.
I was actually very excited to build her right back in the day, because I thought, oh wow, we got a substitute for Godseeker, Ineri, Silent Survivors, Anchorites, being able to enable those compositions with the extenders, right? I'm not sure if you've seen the video back then, but it was actually a bug with Valerie, and I'm not sure if it's still in the game, but she was actually forcing the clan boss to take turns in a different order. The video is still on the channel. Do you remember that?
I can't remember exactly what it was. I remember it from you, because I think we discussed about it. Yeah.
And she was actually the first champion to do this. And I actually went to Plarium and I asked, yo, is this legit? And they actually said that skills in this game can determine the turns that a clan boss takes. And me and Deadwood was like, we have done thousands of clan boss like teams, right? And we have never heard of like the clan boss just like wanting to place decreased
Changing the
speed.
skills, yeah.
It was so weird, but just pay that attention to that, I guess. Like on decreased speed in particular, there could be that thing where the clan boss messes around. But for Void, Force, Magic, definitely a great champion for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually want to go and check if that's still a thing because
I think it is. By just judging by the reply that Perium gave you, I think it's still a thing. You know,
we'll see, guys. It might be this new fusion champion. He's gonna mess up the clan boss. All right, so the final champion is actually going to be another big boy from the demon spawn, and it's going to be Hellborn Sprite to pair with your Corpulent Cadavers. There we go. Now this champion basically has the weaken, and it's the increasing duration of all ally buffs, and then places a 15% increased crit rate on all allies for 2 turns, making it one of the best champions for that world record team, right? With an increased crit rate.
And this similar with Valerie as well. It's going to increase the duration of all buffs. It's pretty nice for it, but because it brings the weaken, is very, very helpful for that world record team, because they don't have a different version of weaken in that team. You know, like no space for it, so it's pretty strong for it.
Yeah, so yeah, that was all for our list, guys. Thank you so much, Skratch, for coming on today. I appreciate your time.
A pleasure as always, brother. Thanks for having me.
Do you want to let us know what you got going on in your channel so everyone can go over and subscribe and see what you got in the works for 2023?
Yeah, just as usual, guys. You know,
End
game content, mid game content, progression content, a bit of everything. Kind of like to have content for everybody, you know, and yeah, just looking forward to see what new content is Raid bringing.
Yeah.
The year of PvP is finally here, hopefully. So very curious to see that as well. Hopefully we're not really gonna get more awakening and empowerment sort of systems in the game, but yeah, we're gonna find out, I guess.
Yeah, and just kind of like a routine that I do on the channel, always summon one shard at the end, give you some dopamine rush.
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Give us
Just
the gold.
watch it. Legendary. Tranda.
We got this bloody...
Dar the Hunger. Not a bad one. Not a bad one, actually.
There we go. But yeah, guys, that is going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Go and drop a sub to Skratch. Get him to like 10 million subscribers. All that good stuff. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
I wanna catch on with Mr. Beast. Let's do it.
There we go. See you later, guys. Peace.